Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. Hope your Saturday is starting off well. August the 15th, 2026. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson, Luminate Bank, Scott Wolmering. I'm Ryan O'Neill, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, Remax Advantage Plus. Got our kind friend, Mr. Mike Wichello, Opportunities in Business, with us here today as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Looking forward to a great show today. A lot to talk about. 612-294-6949 is how you can reach us at any point throughout the show. Got, again, a fun show today, a lot going on. Scott, good morning to you, buddy.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, the Minnesota Real Estate Show, we're going to go live on air here shortly. Love your comments and questions during the show. 612-294-6949. You can text us or go live there, or you can just go ahead and type in on any of the social media feeds. It goes right to us.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. Hope your Saturday's starting off well. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Bank, Scott Wolmering, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and Remax Advantage Plus. Top of the morning to you. This is, again, a live and a local real estate show. We've been on WCCO now for a few years. We have had done the Minnesota Real Estate Show for probably over 20 years now in the Twin Cities. And over those 20 years, we have seen every market imaginable.
We have.
Scott, good morning to you there, friend. Nice to see you, young man.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you've not caught the show before, it is live and you can participate. We love your comments. 612-294-6949. You can text us any questions or call us to go live on air. Beginning of the show, we always like to get into a couple updates, what's going on from a mortgage perspective, and then just what has the housing market done? Like Ryan said, we've been doing this for 20 plus years, been in the business for about 30 years. So if there's been a market, we've seen it. There's struggles in every market. We'll talk about the struggle that is now starting to occur in our market here when we get into it.
Yeah, again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. And Scott, kind of thinking of a theme a little bit, a topic for today. We wanted to talk about the market essentially giving buyers more choices. There's very good homes still available, but this market right now that we're in is giving buyers more choices. Quick interest rate update. Again, this is Mike Overson, Luminate Bank. They're a local bank. Mike and his team are fantastic. We've worked with them a long time, the Minnesota Real Estate Team. By the way, we had a kind of a random question this week, Scott. People said, well, who is the Minnesota Real Estate Team? You know, essentially, we're a group of over 200 agents all throughout Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. So it's a really good group of people, seasoned agents, hardworking, kind, motivated, dedicated. Scott, it's a good group of folks.
Yeah, I think also if I was to put them in a nutshell, it's similar mindset. Client first, your needs and money second. And that I think across the board from pretty much everyone on the team has that mindset. You do your job for the benefit of your client, and then let things kind of fall where they may.
Yeah, again, so we're always happy to help. 612-294-6949. Interest rates, average 30-year fixed this past week from Freddie Mac shows 6.67% on a 30-year fixed. Very similar to the week before, was 6.69. And then that 15-year, Scott, is a little bit under 6, 5.96. Last week, it was a little over 6%. So those interest rates, again, have been very consistent. Of course, they're not set by the Fed. Scott, sometimes people get confused with that. They move with the bond market. But again, these are national averages. Thoughts on interest rates?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about 6.75 as it's a high rate, and it does feel high for anybody, obviously, that bought a house about 5 years ago. But anybody that bought in the last 4 years, I think 2023, the average was like 6.6%. 2024, the average was like 6.7%. I don't know what the average was in 2025, but it's somewhere between 6.5 and 6 and 7. So this has been the rate that we've now had for multiple years. And outside of any craziness happening, we've talked about the fact that we believe that Trump's going to buy some mortgage-backed securities, about $200 billion. Hopefully in the next couple months, that will drive interest rates down for a short period of time. But that is not market-driven. That is exterior. That's driven by what he would be doing in the administration. It has no effect on what the free market's doing.
Yeah, again, from a real estate standpoint, a real estate market update, we share weekly statistics. New listings are up 9% year over year, 1,691. Pending sales or accepted offers up 2%. There were 1,029 pendings. Inventories up 7%, 11,550. And there was an interesting article recently that came out. Again, with this show, we always want to do our best to provide current, honest data, market statistics, really from any and all of our real estate partners that are out there. There was an article, Scott, that came that Redfin released recently, where Redfin said that Minneapolis is now classified as a buyer's market. They said currently their numbers are showing 12,000, a little over 12,000 buyers in the Twin Cities, and there's 14,741 sellers. So there's approximately 22% more sellers than buyers. And that's a significant change, obviously, from what buyers experienced a few years ago. It doesn't mean, obviously, Scott, it's a bad market, but with less buyers, that's what we're feeling, right?
It is. And if you've listened to the show, now it's been 14 weeks since we first had our 1,000 new listings and only 500 pendings. We're adding 500 to 600 homes to the market. We started talking about this about 15 weeks ago now. And that is what we're in. It is, we've been saying balanced market, and for the most part, 1 to 2% one way or the other. I think it said 51% more buyers than there is sellers. So, so it's balanced, but floating on the side, depending on what area you're in. If you're south of the river, it's a buyer's market, 100%. If you are looking in Edina or Minnetonka or areas in the west, it's probably still a seller's market, little bit. And most of it, I would say, is balanced through the Twin Cities. Yeah,
we're up against already our first break here today at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Got a lot to talk about with some of these numbers here, and with, again, this data coming out regarding less buyers, why there are less buyers, and what does it mean for you as a seller? 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show.
Well, I hate the less buyers.
Yeah.
There's not less buyers. There's more listings.
Sure.
So there's more sellers.
Yeah.
That aren't getting eaten up. So they're staying on the market longer.
You could argue, though, is again, there's less people deciding to buy because for all the reasons we'll talk about. So I think, you know what I mean? They've got the COVID 3% interest rate.
Correct.
So now I'm not going to be a buyer.
Correct.
And so how they're classifying, essentially.
Because I keep hearing that, and I keep going, well, our units are up, so more homes are being sold.
Sure.
So there's not less buyers out there.
Sure.
There's less buyers than there is sellers because, of course, we're adding 600 new listings every week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting demand. Mike, you've got a ton of, outside of, obviously, your business experience, you got a lot of real estate know-how too. What are you hearing out there?
Well,
I know you talk to a lot of people.
Well, it's the same as what you guys just talked about. I got friends that live in the Excelsior area. It's a basically Minnetonka in that area. They have an interest rate of, I think he said 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Their kids are moving to Hudson. Their kids are moving to New Richmond. They want to get over there. But to make a lateral move to a nice townhome that they want to go to, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because the payment's going up. So I think a lot of people are in that situation.
Well, it is, and it's always interesting because I got in such trouble when we were in 2021 and rates were at 2.7%.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, if you can buy the most expensive home you ever could buy, meaning your forever home, now's the time to do that. Because what you're paying for $1.5 million right now, a $700,000 house is the same payment.
Right.
So, so if you have the ability to finally do your big shot, that was your shot.
Yeah, it is. That COVID time period there was a lot of good things about it for agents. You think about busy, you're getting a lot of deals, but then there's a lot of things too where it's tied up so many people that they're not wanting to move.
Well, and again, so many deals. There were less deals being sold then than there was this year.
Right.
It's just that you felt busy because you were writing 15 offers to get one accepted.
Yeah.
There were so many multiples.
Hey, we're going to go back live on air. Thank you for joining us. Wherever you're catching us on social media, we appreciate you. Thank you for the nice comments. Try to keep it fun, interesting. Again, happy Saturday to you all. Thanks again. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Appreciate you joining us, everybody. Hope your weekend is going well. Love to hit on some featured listings each week. David Myers got one in Shakopee, Scott, 4388 Blakewood Drive. This is for $275. It is 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car. It's move-in ready. It's got a great floor plan, lots of updates, new flooring, granite countertops, kitchen appliances, furnace, AC, ceiling fan. There's a low HOA fee, David said, added bonus. It is a very nice townhome, 4388 Blakewood Drive in Shakopee for $275,000. And one other one, Steve McDonald has one up in Blaine. This is a great townhome for $265, 1481 111th Lane Northeast, Unit F, 2-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage townhome. It's an end unit. It's close to restaurants, shopping, parks, walking trails, lots of updates throughout. New carpet, freshly painted, AC, furnace. We're doing an open house actually today, 10 to 2. Christopher Marks is out there right now. Again, that is 1481 111th Lane Northeast, Unit F in Blaine. $265,000 for that property as well, Scott. Hey, Scott, before we dive back in real quick, minute of hope. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Got to share this. This week met a wonderful young lady through the O'Neill Foundation of Hope. She is in her 20s, was driving with her niece, got absolutely sideswiped by two folks who had stolen a vehicle going 70 miles an hour through the stop sign, smashed her car. Her and her niece were in the car. Thankfully, both survived. It has now been 4 years since that tragedy. As you can imagine, she has had all kinds of medical bills, housing issues. We, in a very small way, were able to meet her this week, offer her some help with her housing, first month's rent and deposit. Just an absolute sweetheart of a gal. The car was stolen, so she was not able to file insurance. She doesn't know who did it. And Scott, it just broke my heart sitting with her yesterday. And she's a server. She works as a server at a restaurant. She can only work a couple days a week because of what happened to her. Heartbreaking, Scott.
It is. Well, and it's, if this was a unique situation that you run into, but you guys help 5 families a week. So there's a lot of this out there. There's a lot of heartache, and you guys can give short-term relief on that. And sometimes that's all anybody needs is just a little bit of a step back so they can move forward.
Yeah, again, super grateful for your support. Again, you can go to o'neillhope.org. We are receiving a large number of requests, probably 5 to 8 a day. And so if you are in the giving spirit, know that every dollar you contribute goes to helping local families, individuals that are experiencing significant and unexpected hardships, much like this gal. What a sweetheart. Literally, they stole the car. It's one thing to get in a car accident. You think you're going to have insurance. You're going to hire one of these guys on a billboard to get you millions. Yeah. And then it's a stolen car. I mean, stolen car. You can't do anything.
No.
Can't do anything at all.
That's crazy.
Scott, we're having comments about this. Buyers, less buyers, sellers. We had a comment that says, don't use a 2021 selling strategy. You got to use a 2026 strategy. What does that mean, Scott?
It's exactly what I've been talking about for the last 6 or 7 weeks. When you are doing a market analysis on a house right now, it is. Think about sand in a shoreline slowly getting gradually taken away. That's what's happening to our market right now. So 3 months ago is not your value. 2 months ago is not your value. Look at what is currently under contract. So pending sales, they went under contract probably in the last week to 2 weeks, and active properties. What sold in the last 2 weeks? Because you know that's a real number. And what are we selling against? And then be honest with the fact that if there's 50 homes and you're going to stick yourself right in the middle of them, do you compare? Would anybody notice you? Would they show your house? And if the answer to that is no, then your price is too high. And it is eroding quickly. I mean, I keep using the term next year we're going to see a 10 to 15% loss. I know Ryan doesn't like me to say that, but I do believe we're looking at that because you can't add 600-700 homes to the market every week and not have it affect. And now we've got the national news kind of backing that up. You can feel it.
Yeah, I think, again, if you are a seller, again, obviously focus on price, condition, presentation of the property, marketing of the property. And I think, again, to Scott's point, depending upon where you are, real estate is always super specific. They always say location, location, location. So what are you competing against? What city are you in? What school district are you in? What is the HOA that you're in? All of these factors. So when we say, hey, market will go up, market go down, obviously we're not speaking for every property type, but it's important to just, Scott, again, really be working with a good agent. We have friends at all the companies here from doing this a long time. Find somebody you trust that will be honest with you, because at the end of the day, I heard you joking with Mike before the show. You said early in your career, you made a living from being the second agent. In other words, you went in, so somebody listed it for $400,000, sits on the market for 6 months, and then they
call and they say, okay, Scott, Scott, I guess your number was right. Come back out. And we joke about that, but it's true. This is not complicated stuff, and it's not personal. So when an agent that you're hiring that you hopefully trust tells you what the number is, it's what the number is. There's no reason for it other than the fact that you can't sell a stock. You can't sell Target stock at $100 a share when it's selling at 80. It's like, you are worth what you're worth, and a really good agent will get you the top of that number and maybe get you a little bit more. But they're not magic. They're not going to be able to pick a fantasy number just because you bought the house 4 years ago for this number, so you need this. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's very hard. A lot of conversations with sellers will they say, hey, we need this in order to do that. And you need somebody that's just going to be honest with you and just say, hey, look, maybe it isn't the time to sell.
That's right.
Maybe let's look at renting it. I mean, my whole career, the first 10 years in real estate, is I just helped people find property and helped them rent it.
Right.
Granted, it was an investor. That's what I had done as an investor. But it was just an approach of, again, there's a lot of very good people who rent for all kinds of reasons. So it's just getting kind of the straight conversation, Scott, is really what you need.
Well, and again, understand this. Let's just go on the premise that nutty Scott Wollmering is right. And we are going to see a slide here, a resetting of value for the next 2 to 3 years. Let's just say that's correct. If you are a person making a major life decision in the next year, 18 months, you're moving to Florida in 2 years, that's happening. In my opinion, get rid of your home right now. You know that your number's still at the top. Again, we've just started this slide. But if I'm right, and that is a big part of your portfolio, waiting around for 2 years is not the right decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We just had a comment said, guys, how about something a little positive?
Yes.
No, it is. It is interesting because I think about all the years. It's actually kind of funny when you look at, like, Facebook will do memories like 5 years ago, and sometimes it'll pop up from a Saturday morning, like 20 years ago. And I'll look at myself and I'll be like, wow. Or I'll look at Scott.
We're doing this radio show with hats on backwards and younger guys at that time. But something positive. Well, here's what's positive. What's positive is if you are priced correctly, marketed correctly, it's still a very viable market. This is not gloom and doom. This is not 2006 where we have 35,000 homes on the market and you're going to get one showing on your property in 4 months. That's not the market we're in. It just is a common sense market. Price your home for what it's worth, market it correctly, and it will sell. Chase a number that's goofy, and like in any market, it's going to get painful.
Yeah, just had a question that came in. It says, can you advise about photos that show up in the MLS and all over the different real estate sites of your internal not for sale home? I'm thinking it could be a good thing if I disappeared. If I disappeared like Nancy Guthrie, law enforcement could see who was looking at your home before you disappeared. What am I missing? So it's a point of, I think, syndication, Scott. When you have your home for sale, it gets syndicated out everywhere
So
to all the sites.
You as a seller actually initial and agree that we as an agent have the right to promote your home on all websites. And I always tell my sellers, if it bleeds or breathes and it has something to do with real estate, we're going to be on that site. And so I think what she's saying is there a way to make your pictures not be out there?
Yeah.
And it all pulls from MLS, so not really.
Yeah, the way you could do it is if you're not actively for sale, it should not have any photos out there.
Correct.
What you could do is reach out to your agent or whoever helped you, or again, if you're canceled, expired, you reach out to us. We can help you reach out directly to those partners, to the Zillows, to these different companies that can remove those because those pictures should not be there. If your home is, if you're not actively for sale, generally what they have is one image. There's one image that shows it's like a Google Street View of it. Mike Wicello, Opportunities in Business. We're going to continue the discussion. Mike, before the break though, I was just talking to a friend yesterday who is selling their business. They are selling the real estate, but also the business itself. That's what you do, bud.
Yeah. Are they selling it together or?
Yeah, both together. They're selling both together. It happened to be a automotive business, but essentially that's where you come in. Real estate agents, we don't do that really. You go in though, you look at the business. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we look into the business. We look to see, what kind of numbers they're doing. And then after that, we're all real estate licensed brokers. So we look at the comparables of the building also. So not only do we look at how they're doing financially, we look at the value of the property also. And we can determine that almost just like market analysis on a residential home most of the time.
All types of businesses though, Mike. You're selling all types of businesses, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the company's called Opportunities in Business. They're one of our partners. If you go to MN Real Estate Show, you can see we've probably got 30 different companies that we partner with. These are not just random folks that we connected with. These are good, honest, reputable firms that work with the Minnesota real estate team. Super good folks. One of them is Opportunities in Business, and we're going to talk a little bit more after the break about businesses, valuing your business and what that means. 612-294-6949 is how you can reach us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We'll be back after the break.
How are they doing on that business?
They
what they got it listed at?
I don't know specifically. It was just actually, it was through a individual I was chatting with through a medical procedure. I just started chatting with her and she said, yeah, my husband's selling this business. And yeah, so she just said it's in South Minneapolis. I don't even remember the name of it, but
do you run into, I'm just trying to think of how we run into just unrealistic sellers, that believe their home is worth more than it is because of X, Y, and Z. You could go all of them. In this, do you ever run into the situation where someone's like, okay, my business is worth X, but my land is actually worth way more? Because think about it, they're paying off the land with the business, and they put some in their mind that becomes like an idea of value, even though it's not.
We really don't. I mean, that doesn't really come into effect. Is more so it comes into effect on their business. You know what I mean? Because
the business is worth more, but yes.
Because business owners, as we all know, if you're in business for yourself, you try to write off as much as you can to pay less taxes.
Yeah.
So we'll get people that say, well, I'm not taking anything less than $2 million, and they're showing zero.
Zero, yes.
If they only
they live in an 8,000 square foot house in Minnetonka, but they show zero income.
Honestly, or very little, but they say, well, we're not selling this thing unless we get 2 million. You have no idea where I put my money. I have this investment property. I'm like, well, if you can't prove that to somebody, no one's going to buy this
That's right.
business.
Yeah. I'm sure much like any business, there's challenges of you think about with real estate, it's, well, my home's the best and it's worth this.
Well, I just think of Overson every year around tax time, end of the year. He's like, okay, now if you're self-employed, make sure you call me so you can show the kind of income. And I'm thinking, well, it should be the same.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a change.
Welcome back to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Appreciate you joining us here, everybody. Hope your Saturday is going well. Wanted to touch on Justin Voss has a listing in Belle Plaine, 833 South Walnut Street for $350. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath home. It's got a fully finished basement with a fireplace, very nice backyard, a large deck, 3-stall garage. It is a large home for a great price, $350, 833 South Walnut Street in Belle Plaine. Be sure to check that one out. And then Kurt Carlson has one over in St. Paul. This one is 244 Mainzer Street West in St. Paul. It is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-story home in West St. Paul. It's got a stunning original woodwork, hardwood floors, updated kitchen, newer cabinetry. It is a great landscaped backyard. You got a large patio, got charm updates and location. Great spot, 244 Mainzer Street West in St. Paul, West St. Paul neighborhood for $339,900. A very nice property. Yeah, a very nice one, Scott.
Yeah, those are that's awesome. Had an interesting question. We haven't handled this question in a long time. Tell us a little bit about how dual agency works in Minnesota, and are you in favor of dual agency? Do you like it, ups and downs, positives, and so on? You go ahead and handle it first.
Yeah, dual agency is essentially when both agents work for the same firm. And so, for example, if it was, Edina Realty, if both the listing agent and the buyer's agent are with Edina Realty, then it is dual agency. If they are both with RE/MAX Advantage Plus, it is dual agency. If you're with a different RE/MAX, say you're with RE/MAX Professionals or RE/MAX Results, those are different companies.
brokerages.
And so it is not dual agency. Scott, from a representation standpoint?
Yeah, and so I think a lot of times people don't understand that dual agency is what Ryan was just describing. Most of the time people think in dual agency as what we call a hogger, which is you end up representing both the buyer and the seller. If you've listened to the show for the last 20-something years, I'm not in favor of dual agency. I've never liked it. And because the definition of it is you cannot work to either party's detriment. So in my opinion, you're always working to somebody's detriment. If my buyer told me I will pay $50,000 more for this house, it's not dual agency, I have to tell my seller that. In that particular case, I cannot tell my seller that because I would be working in my buyer's detriment. But by not telling the seller, I'm working in the seller's detriment. And so I've never liked dual agency. I think we should go to a facilitating position. You ask one person to do an inspection. Well, that could be working against your seller because you advise the buyer to get an inspection. That's dual agency.
Let's go to Mike Wichello, Opportunities in Business. And Mike, again, talk a little bit about who is Opportunities in Business and what you guys are doing.
Thanks, Ryan. Opportunities in Business is a local business broker. We specialize in selling small businesses to large businesses. Like I said, we're local. We represent mostly sellers, but we work with buyers too. And in our market right now, this is our busy time. We're getting through the summer, all the vacations and everything. And people are thinking about what they're going to do next year, especially buyers. So it's a great time for sellers to, if they're thinking of selling, get a valuation on your business right now, because, it usually takes 6 to 12 months to sell a business from start to finish. And it's just a great time for for sellers, of course, they're going into their fourth quarter. So preparing their financials, they can go back 2 years. They can do a profit and loss for 3 quarters of the year right now, get a pretty good valuation on their business, get it on the market and hopefully sell, close to the beginning of the year. They can be done and the new buyers can be in.
Mike, how do most people buy businesses? So we talk a lot about real estate. Obviously, we go out, there's some people who are cash buyers. Most we go out, get a mortgage. You get a mortgage on a place, you buy the home, you put a down payment on. How do people buy businesses?
Typically, if depending on everybody's different, obviously, like you say, some people can buy cash. There's private equity groups out there that are buying up a lot of the expensive businesses. And then most people will do an SBA loan, basically a government finance loan. They usually want 20% down, but they usually take 10% down, and typically the seller will carry 10% of it. So the seller will get their 90%, maybe with a 5-year balloon on the other 10%. Most sellers will work with that because they're in the mode they want to sell. They're not in the working mode anymore. They're hoping that their business sells.
So if they use a private equity group, that's thrown around a lot, and I know a lot of people out there hear it, but they don't know what that means or who they are or how the finances work. So if a private equity group steps in and buys the business for you, there's obviously a repayment to them, a structure with them. How does that typically work?
Yeah, they basically, the private equity group, it's a group of people that get together. It would be like Ryan, you, a few other people. They put their money together, and they're trying to buy up all these businesses. They typically don't work the business. They just continue to try to buy businesses up.
So they're buying it now. So someone comes in, they step in to buy the business. Do most owners stay over time, a 2, 3, 5-year period, to teach the new owner or owners?
Yeah, they do. Especially in more complicated businesses. Most sellers are more than happy to stay on because they want to see their business succeed, especially if they're carrying some paper on it. And they'll stay on. But Ryan, they don't stay on for more than a year. And a lot of times the buyers come in, work for 6 months, and they really don't want them around.
So do most people, are you finding, is it someone not affiliated with the business, the existing business, that comes in as a new owner? Is that most common? Or is it, hey, Frank has been my guy for 30 years. He's picking this thing up. He's a good young man. He's going to buy this.
Well, typically, I'll just give you an example for a clock company we listed. Somebody, it's kind of, clocks are kind of a dying breed a little bit. And so it'd be typically somebody that owns a clock business, say in Iowa.
What do you mean by clock? Like clocks? Like
you've heard of them. They're big. They're big. They have hands on them. You tell time. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, and it would be typically somebody that owns one around that would come in and buy it and want to have another business.
Okay. And it's always, just in simple terms, it's a multiple of, if your business makes $100,000, then your industry has a multiple 2, 3, 4 of that. Say it's whatever. Is there a standard of that? 4 multiples of what you make?
It depends on the business, but typically there's a standard between 2.5% and 5%.
Okay, so
depending on how strong the business is,
2.5% to 5%. Okay, and then they're coming in, and then SBA loan. Is it as strict as a regular mortgage? I mean, is it really tough to get an SBA loan?
No, it's typically not. If you have good credit, you have a little bit of equity in your home, they're going to tie it up with something. They're pretty laid back on that financing.
Yeah, one of the things before I was in real estate, for anybody that knows me, I owned three preschools south of the river, and they were hard to sell. We ended up selling to our directors because they knew the business already. We were obviously able to sell it to them for basically just whatever. We sold it to them, and but I just always remember the evaluation was so tough because the opinions of the banks were, well, no, Scott, if you leave, then all these kids aren't here paying money anymore. So it's all tied to you being there or not being there. They had a term for it, blue something or
blue sky.
Blue sky. Yeah. And so it was like, well, yeah, right now I've got a full house paying it. Yep. But if you leave, they might not stay. And so it was either stay there and work for a year to transition it over, or what we decided to do was to sell to the directors we had.
Yeah. And you probably got pretty lucky on that too, because we're seeing like 92% of the people where we list the owners, they'll say they have a buyer that's in-house, one of their general managers or managers that want to buy it, or even a relative. And 92% of the time that doesn't happen.
It doesn't work out. Mike, now before the break here, Mike, again, any other stories of recent customers or people that you've worked with, examples of businesses that your team is working with?
Yeah, I just sold a bar restaurant, and everything went real smooth. We sold it to another owner of a bar restaurant, and we are closing in 2 weeks from now. It was about a 6-month process. There were some hiccups down the road, but we put it together and it's closing in 2 weeks.
What's the success rate of? Let's say I want to open a bar. I've got no bar experience at all, except I've spent many time in a bar, but actual business experience. So what is the success rate of opening a bar restaurant business?
I really can't give you a percentage.
No, you can tell me. I'm a real estate
agent. No, but what I can tell you is what we've seen in the industry is, if somebody's going to come in and buy a bar and hire a general manager, they usually fail. Yeah. Because people want to see the owner. Yeah. People want to
it's the same know that people are taking care of it. A lot of businesses are that way.
Can I give a nice kudos to my longtime friend, Mr. Mike Wichello? Those of you, if you live in the East Metro, you probably know this guy. He is like the mayor of any city over there. So Mike, we've known each other a long time, and Mike owned a restaurant called Duke's, and everyone and their mother and father that came in there knew Mr. Mike Wichello, loves Mike. It's hard not to just love this guy. You had a rockin' business, dude, but you sold it. You ended up selling it.
Yes, I sold it. Got back into the real estate business, which I really liked. Got the kids through school, and the kids really didn't want us running a bar anymore.
Yeah. So. Mike is an absolute, just a wonderful human, class act, not only a great business person, but just a all around class act. Mike, before the break
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. But before the break, best way for people to connect with opportunities in business, just so we put that out.
The best way to connect with all of us over at Opportunities of Business is go to our website, www.oibmn.com. And if anybody's interested, they want to do some business with me, they can call me on my cell phone, 651-442-5811. I appreciate the time here.
Yeah, 651-442-5811. Mike Wichello. Again, we're up against our final break. It's important, Scott. Just like you're selling real estate, you're selling a business. You could try to go it alone, or you could hire a good guy like Mike, who knows what he's doing, actually owned businesses himself and sold businesses. So thanks, Mike, for the time. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, 612-294-6949. Throughout the week, you can call us and text us there. We'll be back after the break. Really good segment, Mike.
Was it stumbly?
No, it was very good, dude. It was very good. Yeah, and it's, you think about the different types of businesses. I think the bar and grill, but I mean, Duke's, I mean that sincerely. This guy, if you live anywhere in the East Metro, you know Mike. I mean, I have a brother. My brother Tom's over there. Oh, yeah. All his family knew. Everyone knows Mike.
You know what's crazy about businesses, though? Until you get in this business, you don't realize the businesses that are out there.
Yeah.
I got a tree farm listed.
Tree farm.
Yeah, it's just crazy. In Moorhead.
I've been looking at little businesses for my youngest son, and just something that would be, and things like, I didn't even think about this, but there are Christmas tree hanging businesses
lights
that do very well, and a lot of times they're just individually owned, and you get a group of people that are like, put my Christmas tree lights up every year.
Yeah,
and you go out, and it's things like that I never even thought about. But if somebody knocked on my door, because I'm not putting Christmas lights up.
Yeah.
So if somebody knocked on my door and said, "Hey, you want me to put Christmas lights up? It's $250." I'd be like, "Yeah."
Well, yeah.
There's a one right now. A guy in my office has it listed, and it's a power washing company, right?
Power wash.
That guy actually makes money, but like you said, he's a sole proprietor.
Sole guy.
So you got to find somebody that wants to work.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids nowadays don't want to work.
No, you know what the number one under 35-year-old college degree jobs are? There's two of them. Guess what they are?
What is it?
Content creator.
And
influencer. So that's what our kids are out there trying to be, as content creators and influencers, which is great if you can get that gig.
You should be an influencer.
I should be an influencer.
There was a Facebook post the other day that said, my uncle was my influencer, and I didn't have to pay him, and he gave me tons of bad advice.
Yeah, influencer. He's a different kind of influencer.
That's right.
Back in 1970.
Yeah, it is. Well, and again, I think of my dad used to joke and say, Ryan, there's a lot of ways to make a living in the world.
Yes,
And I think, it's a good point from a
True.
business standpoint for your kids, family, friends, people, to look at some kind of business, doing something. I have some nieces and nephews who are doing some kind of cool little businesses. I can think of my niece Molly, who has a bakery. She's running a
Oh,
really
yeah.
good bakery operation. I'm doing very, very well with it. And so sometimes it's there's a lot of good ways you can do it, guys.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there is.
And you're exactly right. I think back to the preschool days. We had 3 centers and 500 kids, and they made money.
Yeah.
Not the kind of money you would think.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But an individual owner, like your sister Mary. Oops, sorry.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. August 15th. David Myers got a listing. This one's in St. Paul Park, Scott, 829 First Street for $350. 3-bed, 3-bath, 1+ guitar garage. It's a meticulously rehabbed home, new roof, siding on the home, water heater, AC, new flooring, windows, completely new kitchen. Primary suite addition on the main floor is updated. It's entirely remodeled home. It's got a fenced-in yard. 829 First Street in St. Paul Park for $350. A very nice property. And Scott, last one is just Miss Laura Antolik has one in Lakeville, 7027 182nd Street West for $780. This is a 2022 built 2-story by 11010. It's the Maverick floor plan, 5-bed, 5-bath, gourmet kitchen. Tons of updates throughout. You got to check out the pictures. 7027 182nd Street West, Lakeville, 780 11010. Scott, they're a good builder.
They are actually a good builder. In fact, they're a great builder. I actually have a close friend of mine that is actually going to work with them. I won't announce that this week, but I'll announce it next week. But they are a great builder. Again, family owned. Bill Ryan is the owner. Been around forever. Everybody knows Bill. Great builder. We should positive. I was thinking, we had a comment too also by Sean Waite, said you guys are always great at edutainment. Edutainment, yes. A little education, a little entertainment.
Hey, Scott, I did want to there's 2 agents on the team a little happy birthday, Matt Belanti.
Yes.
And also Marcos Martinez. 2 great guys, 2 wonderful guys, agents on the Minnesota real estate team. The big birthdays today. We're sending out a lot of love, a lot of shout out as well. Very good people.
One of those 2 men are always smiling. You guess which one it is.
Yeah, Marcos.
Yes.
Marcos Martinez. Again, throughout the week, everybody, please don't hesitate to reach out. We talked today a little bit just about some of the recent articles that have come out with, again, the way they framed it was less buyers compared to sellers, from a kind of last thoughts standpoint with this. Again, they said 22% more sellers than buyers in the Twin Cities. So for buyers, Scott, it's don't assume you got to waive everything and pay what the seller asks, right?
Nope. Those days have now we should always say this. Those days have gone, except if the home is priced correctly, you can still have multiple offers in this market. Don't make any mistake about it. But if the home's been on the market for 3 weeks and they haven't got that number, they're not getting that number.
Yep.
And the seller knows that at that point. Their agent's definitely been telling them they're not getting it. And so as a buyer, you can be aggressive.
For sellers, Scott, don't assume putting your house on the MLS automatically means multiple offers.
No, it does not. No, whenever you get to a balanced market and arguments like this article saying that we're floating into a buyer's market, it comes down to really, again, how does it presented? Are the photos great? Who's taking the phone calls? Who's your agent? I mean, agents always matter, but in a market like this, they really matter. If you interview an agent and you can't stand them, do not hire them to sell your house because other people can't stand them either. And so, you want to think in terms of, if I was negotiating out a price, and again, every negotiation is not head-to-head horrible. Most of it is just, you want to buy a house, you want to sell a house. Who's going to help put that together with the best ease?
612-294-6949. Again, we are entering really, as we could say, kind of more of a balanced market, a little bit more of a healthy market. Scott, for years, buyers frustrated. They had no negotiating power. Again, competing against multiple offers, making quick decisions, sometimes too quickly. Buyers now have a few more choices. Oftentimes they can, like you said, slow down, do home inspections, negotiate. I would say, though, incredibly important working with an agent. Having a good agent to help you through the process, I think, is more important than ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no doubt you can make an argument in a market when there's 5,500 homes in the market and you put a sign in the front yard and you get 25 offers, that the value of a real estate, I could give you a lot of arguments why it doesn't, but nonetheless, you can make that argument why the value of a real estate agent goes down. In a market like this, where you're not getting 10 showings in the first 2 days, you're getting 10 showings over maybe 2 months. Then having the right agent that is talking to those agents, making sure that you're always priced correctly, re-looking at the market constantly, making sure you're positioned right, and that has, to Mike's comment earlier, has the cojones to tell you, because that's in your best interest. Sitting there quietly while your home rots away on the market is not in your best interest. So having someone that's willing to tell you the truth is important.
Yeah, it has been a fun show. Mike Wichello, Opportunities in Business. People, if they're interested in selling a business, buying a business, they have questions. Again, best way for people to connect with you. Any last thoughts for listeners?
Best way to get a hold of us is www.oibmn.com, or you can give me a call at 651-442-5811, and we can give you a free valuation on your business.
Yeah, you can find him at mnrealestateshow.com. He's right there on the preferred partner page.
We like to feature a little city too. Each one of Minnesota's cities. Scott, guess which city is the Granite City?
The Granite City. That would be the Granite City.
Candace, do you know the Granite City?
Maple Grove.
Maple Grove. Yes. Mike, anybody? The Granite City is actually St. Cloud. It earned the nickname because of the area's enormous granite quarrying industry. So granite became important to the local economy, that stone was eventually shipped around the country. So again, you think about every city's got something. Every Minnesota community's got a story. History is often reflected. There you go. There's your learning item for today.
That was a good one. I remember a few years ago that the number one town in the country, not just in Minnesota, but the number one town in the country was Duluth.
Yeah.
They classified it as a town, not a city.
To move to. Candace, you had a thought, I could tell.
Oh, I was just going to say, remember last week we were talking about popcorn ceilings?
Yes.
I changed my mind. I like them.
Yeah, Candace, thank you. Why?
My drummer has like this really cool older home in his 70s basement where we rehearse and stuff.
Yes.
And I was just like kind of mesmerized when we were rehearsing. It was all like sparkly. And I was like, you know what? This is fitting the vibe I'm in.
Well, you and your drummer are the two people that like popcorn
Hey,
ceilings.
are you the singer?
Yes.
Awesome. Tell me the name of your group.
Shadow Hex.
Shadow. And when are you playing or performing next?
We just played at the Turf Club on Thursday.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I did not know this, Candace.
Yeah.
What's it called? Shadow Hex?
Yes.
Cool.
Kind of 70s, groovy, doomy.
I like it.
I'll let you guys know the next show.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep
get
pumping.
a crew out there. We'll get a crew out
Yeah,
there.
okay.
You better watch out now that we know this. Now that Ryan knows.
You can play
Shadow
with it.
Hex.
Yeah.
Very cool. We got to check that out. Hey, it's been a fun show. Scott, last thoughts, buddy?
No, just again, keep your head up. It's still a very good market, still a viable market, just changing. Every market has its issues. This one we're just starting to get a little more balance.
Yeah, and Mike Wichello, Opportunities in Business. Great work to you. Big thanks to Candace for helping us coming in. This has been the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Again, we're here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11. Any questions, comments, thoughts? We literally, again, we're a team of over 200 agents throughout Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. We help people buy, sell, invest in real estate, low pressure. And like Scott said, we're just focused on doing what we can to help others and to help our community. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of this weekend. Take care. Nice show. Thank you, everybody. Mike, good
Thanks,
job,
Robbie.
buddy.
Ryan, thanks for everything.
No, thank you,
You
Mike
were- you were
Wiccello.
bragging
Call
me
this
up.
guy.
You were bragging me up.
Call this guy. Call
I was
Mr.
gonna have
Mike.
Candace sing a song for us.
Yes,
Oh,
next
shut
week.
up.
Next time we will.
We're back
Ryan, you
next
better bring
week.
your piano.
Hey, I'm
She
bringing
can
my
sing,
piano
and
in.
then she can sing.
Maybe I'll get Tim to come in here too. We'll do a little dueling pianos.
and then have a singer.
We're gonna
Have a
whoop it up a
singer.
little. We'll get Scott up there. Scott, we're pulling you up on the
Oh,
show this year, dude.
Trust me, the last thing that you ever want me to do is sing.
I
Turf
think
Club
maybe
is a
this
big
year.
place, isn't
Turf
it?
Club is a big place.
It's
We
on
got
university. Or,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
super
I mean,
cool.
a lot of people go there. I think.
Hey, thank you. We had a lot of people watching the whole hour. Thank you for watching. Hope you got some good value, good content out of this. The Granite City. That's I learned something new
St.
today.
Cloud.
I was
St.
gonna say
Cloud.
Red
I'll
Wing.
never forget it.
Red Wing. Yeah, you'll never forget it. Hey, we'll take care. We'll sign off, everybody. See you next weekend here at WCCO.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy.